We will complete this book in three rounds. In first round, we will only read the questions, and in second round, we will highlight the important questions and the most repeated questions. And in third round, we will only revise the highlighted part. Okay, let's start. Question number one. In which of the following acts the provision was made for the establishment of Supreme Court at Calcutta? The answer is A. Regulating Act 1773. The provisions for the establishment of a Supreme Court at Fort William, Calcutta was made in the Regulating Act 1773. The court was established in 1774. Sir Eliza Impey was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. With reference to the establishment of Supreme Court, which of the following statements are correct? Supreme Court at Calcutta was established by the Regulating Act of 1773. This is correct. Leicester was the first Chief Justice of India. So this is wrong because Sir Eliza Impey was the first Chief Justice of Supreme Court. Match list with list 2 and select the correct answer from the code given below the list. Establishment of the Board of Control, establishment of Supreme Court, permission to English missionaries to work in India, appointment of the law member and Governor General and Council. So, as we saw in last question, establishment of Supreme Court was done in Regulating Act in 1773. So, B for one. Answer is B. Regulating Act 1773, establishment of Supreme Court, Pitt's India Act 1784, establishment of Board of Control, Charter Act 1813, permission to English missionaries to work in India, Charter Act 1833, appointment of law member in Governor General's Council. Which of the following led to the introduction of English education in India? Charter Act of 1813, General Committee on Public Instruction 1823, Orientalist and Anglicist controversy. So its answer is D, means all the options are correct. English East India Company discouraged the Orientalist education system and promoted the Western education system. In Charter Act 1813, there was also a provision that companies should invest at least rupees 1 lakh every year on the education, literature, etc. of Indians. In 1823, General Committee of Public Instruction was constituted, which had the responsibility to grant 1 lakh rupees. The Orientalist Anglicist controversy was a controversy regarding nature of education that British East India Company was to impart to the local populations in its territory. H.T. Prinsep and Dr. H.H. Wilson supported Orientalist education, and Anglicists were led by Charles Trevelyan, who advocated for imparting of Western education through medium of English. During rule of Governor General Lord William Bentinck on 7 March 1835, the proposal of Lord Macaulay was accepted and English language was accepted as the medium of higher education, by which act British Parliament had abolished the monopoly of East India Company's trade in India except tea and China trade. Charter Act of 1813. Answer is A. Trade monopoly of East India Company was abolished by the Charter Act 1813 except for trade in tea and China. It asserted the sovereignty of British Crown over the Indian territories held by the company. The act was also empowered local governments to impose taxes and punish those who did not pay. While Charter Act of 1833 abolished the commercial role of the East India Company and allowed East India Company to perform political functions only in future. Which act of the British Parliament abolished the English East India Company monopoly over trade in India? Charter Act of 1813. The Charter Act of 1813 deprived the company of its monopoly over trade with India but it still enjoyed its monopoly of trade with China and trade in tea. Consider the following statements above the Charter Act of 1813. It ended the trade monopoly of East India Company in India except for tea in tea and trade with China. This is correct. It asserted the sovereignty of British Crown over Indian territories held by the company. The revenue of India were now controlled by the British Parliament. This is wrong. So answer is A. The monopoly of East India Company in India was abolished except trade in tea and China through Charter Act of 1813. Through this act, the sovereignty of British Crown over Indian territories were asserted. Thus, statement 1 and 2 are true, but statement 3 is not correct because this act kept rights over the territory and revenue under the East India Company for next 20 years. The Indian revenue was brought under the direct control of British Parliament through the Act of 1853 when the designation of Secretary of State was made under the British Cabinet Minister and specially to help him in the revenue administration, the Council of India was organized, which act for the first time made it possible for Indians to take some share in administration of their country. Charter Act 1833. Section 87 was one of the most important sections of the Charter Act 1833. It stated that no person of India or the crowd would be debarred from any post or service under the company on the grounds of religion, place of birth, descent, or color, or any of them. Subsequently, Section 87 of the Act 1833 became the foundation for the demand for the participation of Indians in the administration during the political movement. Read the following statements with reference to Indian Councils Act 1861 and choose the correct option. As a result of this act, total members of Executive Council of Governor General became 7, correct. From legislative work, member of additional members could be a minimum of 6 and maximum of 12. No differentiation was made between state and central jobs. Answer is B. 1 is incorrect. The Indian Councils Act 1861 transformed the Viceroy's Executive Council into a miniature cabinet running on the portfolio system. All the 5 members were assigned a department out of revenue, finance, law, home, and military as the head for the executive functions. In 1874, a sixth member was added to the Executive Council for Public Works Department. For legislative works, the number of additional members was determined to be a minimum 6 and maximum 12, which were to be nominated by Viceroy for 2 years. At least half of the additional members were to be non official. No differentiation was made between central and provincial subjects. Question number 2. Read the following statements with respect to Indian Council Act 1892 and choose the correct option. It was implemented on 20th June 1892. Out of total 24 members, 5 were non-government members. Members were given rights to ask supplementary questions. So there is none correct answers. The British Parliament passed the Indian Council Act 1892. It gathered the royal assent on June 20th, 1892 and was commenced on February 3, 1893. Thus, statement 1 is wrong. The number of additional members elected to the Governor General's Council was increased to be a minimum of 10 to a maximum of 16 members. Among these additional members, at least half had to be non-official. Thus, as per rule of this act, of these additional members, 6 were official and 10 were non-official. In non-official members, both Indian and European were included. Thus, statement 2 is wrong. In this act, the right to discuss budget was given, but members were not given the right to ask supplementary questions. So third is also wrong. Under which of the following acts Legislative Council of India received the power to discuss the budget? Indian Council Act of 1892. The Indian Council Act 1892 increased the functioning of Legislative Council. The council was given the power to discuss the budget but not the power to vote. The act permitted addressing questions to the executive with the prior notice of 6 days, but the power to ask supplementary questions was not given. Which of the following act provided for communal representation in India? Minto-Morley Reforms 1909. The Indian Councils Act 1909 introduced a separate electorate for communal representation to the Muslim community. It thus sowed the seeds of separatism that eventually led to the partition of the country. The Act of 1909 was associated with the introduction of separate electorates. By which one of the following acts was the federal court in India created? None. The federal court in India was established on 1st October 1937 by the Government of India Act 1935. Sir Maurice Gayer was its first Chief Justice. The Federal Court of India was established in which of the following year? 1937. Under which of the following acts diarchy was introduced at the central level? So answer is C, Government of India Act 1935. The salient features of the Government of India Act 1935 were diarchy was provided at the central level but was not implemented. Provincial diarchy, as envisaged in the Government of India Act 1919, was abolished. Central subjects were divided into two, reserved and transferred subjects. The Government of India Act 1935 proposed to set up the All India Federation comprising the British India provinces and the princely states, but the federation never came to exist. Third provision is the supremacy of the British Parliament remained intact under the Government of India Act 1935. Burma was separated from India with effect from April 1937. The Government of India Act 1935 abolished the country of the Secretary of State for India, which was created in 1858. The Federal Court of India was established on 1 October 1937. Sir Maurice Gayer was its first Chief Justice. The Central Federal Bank was established under this act, which was later known as the Reserve Bank of India. Which of the following act set up diarchy's system at the central level? Government of India Act 1935. Which of the following is or are the principal features of Government of India Act 1919? The introduction of diarchy in the executive government of the provinces, the introduction of separate electorates for Muslims, the devolution of legislative authority to the center of the provinces. Answer is C, because the introduction of separate communal electorates for Muslims was introduced in the Government of India Act 1909 called as the Minto-Morley Reforms. The Government of India 1919 was passed by the British Parliament. The Act embodied the reforms recommended in the report by the Secretary of State for India, Edwin Montague, and the Viceroy Lord Chelmsford. This act provided for the introduction of a dual form of government in provinces known as diarchy. The subject of administration was divided into two categories, reserved and transferred. Reserved subjects were kept under provincial governors and their executive council, while transferred subjects were kept under ministers responsible to the provincial legislature. The distribution of powers between the centre and provinces was done in the form of federal and provincial subjects. As far as the question of a separate electorate system for Muslim is concerned, the provision had already been made by the Act of 1909. The Government of India Act 1919 continued this provision, also extended it to Sikhs, Europeans, Indian Christians, and Anglo Indians. In the context of Indian history, the principle of diarchy refers to the division of subjects delegated to the provinces into two categories, that is, reserved and transferred. Diarchy is derived from the Greek word diar, means double rule. In the context of Indian history, the principle of diarchy refers to the division of provincial subjects into reserved and transferred categories. Comparatively important subjects, reserved subjects such as police, jail, justice, finance, and irrigation, were to be administered by the governor and his executive council without being responsible to the legislative council. Subjects of lesser importance, such as education, agriculture, local self government, etc., were to be administered by the governor with the aid of ministers responsible to the legislative council. In the Government of India Act 1919, functions of provincial government were divided into reserved and transfer subjects. Which of the following were treated as reserved subjects? So, answer is C 1, 3, and 4. Be- Because local self government came under the transferred subjects. The Government of India Act 1919 introduced diarchy at provincial level. Provincial governments subjects were separated into two divisions, reserved subjects and transferred subjects. Subjects under the transferred list are local self government, public works, health and sanitation, industrial research and education. The subjects included under the reserved list are judicial administration, res, land revenues, forests, land, labor dispute settlement, agriculture, loans, police, and prisons, which established the diarchy system in the provinces. The Government of India Act 1919. The Government of India Act 1919, also known as Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms, was passed by the British Parliament with the objective of gradually introducing responsible government in India. It introduced a system of dual government at the provincial level. Subjects were divided into two categories, reserved subjects. These include important areas like law and water, law and order, finance, land revenue, and irrigation. These remain under the direct control of the British governor and his executive council to transfer subjects. These include less critical areas like education, health, public works, and agriculture. This dual scheme of governance was known as diarchy, a term derived from the Greek word diarchy, which means double rule. It also introduced for the first time bicameralism and direct elections in the country. The Indian legislature was made bicameral for the first time by the Government of India Act 1919. The Government of India Act 1919 made the Indian legislature bicameral for the first time. It was to consist of an upper house named the Council of State and the lower house named the Legislative Assembly. Council of State was composed of 60 members, of whom maximum 20 members could be official in accordance with Section 18 of the Government of India Act 1919. The lower cause was called the Central Legislative Assembly, and under Section 19 of this Act originally provided for 140 members and 100 elected and 40 nominated. It is noteworthy that under the rules was made for the implementation of 1919 Act. Provision was made for 60 members with 33 elected and 27 nominated in the Council of State, while the number of members of the Central Legislative Assembly was increased first to 143 and then to 145. It is notable that one member in each house was elected from Berar out of nominated members. Due to a member from Berar being nominated as a result of an election held in Berar, it has been included in the number of elected members in many actions. Which of the following acts introduced a bicameral legislature at the center? The Government of India Act 1919. Consider the following statements. The Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919 recommended granting voting rights to all the women above the age of 21. The Government of India Act 1935 gave women reserved seats in legislation. Answer is 2. B only. In 1918, when Britain granted limited suffrage to women property holders, the law did not apply to British citizens in other parts of the empire. Despite the All India Women's Deputation led by Sarojini Naidu to Samuel Montagu, the Secretary of State for India, women demands were ignored in the negotiations for reforms, though women were not granted voting rights nor the right to stand in elections. The Government of India Act of 1919 allowed provincial councils to determine if women could vote, provided they met stringent property income or educational levels. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Statement 2 is correct as the Government of India Act 1935 extended the principle of communal representation by providing separate electorates for depressed classes, scheduled caste, and women and laborers. With reference to Indian civil services, which of the following statements is or are correct? The Government of India Act 1919 provided for a separate examination for Indian civil service, which was to be held in India. Indian civil service in 1941, the percentage of Indians was more as compared to the Europeans. Answer is C. Both the statements are correct following Lord Macaulay's report of the Select Committee of the British Parliament. Both these statements are correct. Following Lord Macaulay's report of the Select Committee of the British Parliament, the concept of merit based civil services in India was introduced in 1854. For this purpose, the Civil Services Commission was set up in London, and competitive examinations started in 1855 in London itself. The Government of India Act 1919 provided for a separate examination for Indian civil service, which was to be held in India, started in 1922 first in Allahabad and later in Delhi. In 1941, the Indian civil service percentage of Indians was higher than that of the Europeans. By which of the following acts the system of chamber of prices princes with 120 members were created? Act of 1919. According to the Act of 1919, the system of chamber of princes with 120 members was created. The Chamber of Princes was established by King Emperor George V's proclamation on 23 December 1919. After the Government of India Act 1919 was given royal assent, the chamber was formed to provide a forum in which the rulers of princely states of India could voice their needs and aspirations to the colonial government. The annual meeting of the Chamber of Princes was presided over by the Viceroy of India. It was an advisory body. The first Chancellor of Chamber was Maharaja of Bikaner Ganga Singh. Which of the following elections of the Central Legislative Assembly were held under the Government of India Act 1919? So 1926 and 1937. 1937 1935 के अंडर हुए थे, 1926 और 1945. According to the legislation in the years 1925 and 20 and 45, the election of Central Legislative Assembly was held under the state elections of the Government of India Act 1919. In which year the last election of Indian legislature under the Government of India held? 1919 was held. 1945. Under the Government of India Act 1919, the last election of the Union government was held in the year 1935. The power of the President to issue ordinances is a relic of Government of India in 1935. Although in British India, the Viceroy was empowered to promulgate an ordinance without the permission of Legislative Council under the Indian Council Act 1861. However, the President's power to promulgate an ordinance is inspired by Section 42 of the Government of India Act 1935. Which of the following acts introduced the principle of constitutional autocracy? The Government of India Act 1935. The principle of constitutional autocracy was introduced by the Government of India Act 1935. This act vested the executive authority of provinces in the governors and of the center in the Governor General on behalf of the Crown. The distribution of power between center and states, as in the Constitution of India, is based on which of the following plans? The Government of India Act 1935. The separation of powers was made by the Government of India Act 1935. It divided the legislative powers between central and provincial legislatures and replaced diarchy in provinces with diarchy at the center. The act also envisaged the establishment of the Federation of India, made up of both British India and some of the princely states. However, this part was never implemented. One amongst the following was not a salient feature of the Government of India Act 1935. So answer is B. The residuary subjects were neither allocated to the central nor provincial legislature. The residuary powers were vested in the Viceroy, Governor General of India. Which among the following introduced the provincial autonomy in British India? The Government of India Act 1935. The provincial autonomy in British India was initially introduced by the Government of India Act 1919, in which central control over provinces was relaxed by the separation of central and provincial subjects. It also separated provincial budgets from central budget and authorized provincial legislature enact their budgets. The Government of India Act 1935 further extended and established the provincial autonomy. Jharkhand federal system and hierarchy at the center was introduced in India by the Act of 1935. The provision for the establishment of All India Federation was included in the Government of India Act 1935. Which of the following acts provided for a federal polity in India? The Government of India Act 1935. In the federation established by the Government of India Act 1935, residuary powers were given to the Governor General. With reference to the Governor of India, Government of India Act 1935 considered the following statements. It provided for the establishment of an All India Federation based on the union of British Indian provinces and princely states. Defense and foreign affairs were kept under the control of federal legislature. This is strong. The Government of India Act 1935 provided for the establishment of an All India Federation by the name of Federation of India, consisting of the British Indian provinces, both governors' provinces and chief commissioner provinces, and princely states as units. Under the Government of India Act 1935, the concept of diarchy was introduced at the central level. As per Section 11(1) of the Act, the functions of the Governor General with respect to defense, ecclesiastical affairs, external affairs, and tribal areas were to be exclusively exercised by him in his discretion. However, in terms of union state relations, statement 2 may be correct, as subjects of defense and external affairs were kept part of the federal list under 1935 Act, and Governor General was also part of the federal legislature, as the President of India is part of the Parliament. So, in this case, option C will be the correct answer. The federal system proposed under the Government of India Act 1935 was United India. Which of the following was one of the features of the Government of India Act 1935? Appraisal of the Act of 1935. The Government of India Act 1935, in its provisions for India's federation, included the proposal for the Governor General's Executive Council and the inclusion of provincial autonomy, but the primary focus of the 1935 Act was not on the establishment of the judiciary. It laid the foundation for division of powers between center and states, the establishment of a central legislature, and the assignment of powers in the state. The Act also proposed the strengthening of federal government's authority over the provinces. Therefore, the current constitutional structure is substantially based on the 1935 Act, although some changes may have been made since then. Which of the following, which one of the following is not an important and permanent constitution in the constitutional history of India as adopted in the Government of India Act 1935? A written constitution for country. Provision for a written constitution for the country was not mentioned in the Government of India Act 1935. The demand for a constitution was accepted in principle by the British government in what is known as the August Offer of 1940, in which British government concurred that framing of the new constitution should be primarily the responsibility of Indians themselves. In 1945, Sir Stafford Cripps, a member of British cabinet, came to India with a draft proposal from the British government on the framing of an independent constitution to be adopted after World War II. Why is the Government of India Act 1935 important?